What is up, everyone? Happy Friday, October 4th, 2024. We are Optimus Fantasy Football. I am Nate Polvogt with my co-host, the one and only Matthew Chester at FF Mad Jester on Twitter. It is week 5 of NFL action. We're kicking off super early, 7:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, I guess that would be, for the Europe game. It's going to be a fun time. If you're going to be up that early to check out the game, I'll have my rankings done by then, but we won't be on Reddit yet for start sit. So you might be on your own there a little bit. But we're here for you today. We are here to answer all of your questions. So make sure whether you are on X or you are on YouTube, if you are on Twitch, you can drop those comments in the chat. If you're on Facebook as well, please get them in there. We are here to help you guys win your week 5 fantasy football matchups. We also have a guest here with us, folks. The one and only Mr. Sam Wise at Buy and Sell You on Twitter. You can find Sam at In Between Media with his weekly fantasy whiplash column, as well as dynasty content over at Yards Per. Sam, first of all, I want to say thank you for joining us. How are you doing this fine Friday afternoon?
Man, if I was any better, there'd be two of me. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. It's a wild week. We have lost a lot of players to injury. So as we're waiting for some comments to roll in, we're going to start here. The injuries effing suck, and it is just getting worse and worse. But we did get good news. Trey McBride is going to be active on Sunday. So that's a little bit less worry at the tight end position. But Khalil Shakir out this week. We are going to be missing Brandon Cooks, Malik Neighbors, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. It's sounding like Brian Robinson Jr. might also miss the week, though Austin Eckler is trending towards playing. So let's go with this here, guys. With all of these injuries, are there players on some of these teams that maybe are like a handcuff type player you're looking to pivot to because you're going to have to this week? Sam, let's start with you.
Well, I think obviously Madison behind Zamir White. I mean, Vegas is terrible, but if you're hard up for somebody to play, obviously he's a possibility, and then there's also, if you need just a plug and play kind of player, then you got to look at games, where a backfield that's by committee is playing against somebody with such a bad rush defense that they might be viable. So like a Rashawn Johnson behind DeAndre Swift, who almost lost that job until he got rescued last week. So there are a couple plug and play opportunities out there. Trey Sermon in Indianapolis. So
yep, he's a good one. I wrote up Trey Sermon this week in my waiver wire column. Chester, I want to ask you this one. Wide receiver wise, Keon Coleman now looks like he could have a chance to be the wide receiver one in Buffalo with Khalil Shakir out. Are you excited to go grab him and play him, or is this kind of nah?
I'm not excited, but he's a possibility, and he did have a drop last week. It was confidence inspiring that Josh Allen went right back to him and connected. He's going to have some rookie bumps, but yeah, I think he's definitely climbing in the weekly ranks.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I really do like Keon Coleman. Now, guys, we've got some questions here in the chat, so we're going to get to those. It's why we're here. South Sea 77 tuning in. He wants to know, hey, guys, pick 2. Addison, Coleman, or Moss. I'm assuming Zach Moss at Santana Moss is retired, as is Randy. Sam Wise, which way are you going here? Addison, Coleman, Moss. Which 2 are you starting?
Probably Addison and Coleman. Moss is... but Ravens got the number 2 defense against fantasy running backs. And as big a Moss fan as I am, and you can see the colors behind me, and I think he's been pretty good this year, if not blown anybody away. This is a week where I'm benching him, and I've got a lot of shares.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Matt, how do you feel about this? Are you benching Moss, or do you have a little bit more faith in him than we do?
No, I'm fine benching Moss, especially with Chase Brown kind of stepping up. They might start seeing what they have with him. And again, it's a terrible run defense to play against. I don't really want a committee, and I don't want the guy that looks like he's trending down in that committee.
Yeah, same. Like Zach Taylor said, Chase Brown looks like he's being shot out of a cannon when he has the ball. So I think you want that guy over the plodding, clunky. We know what he is, Zach Moss. Now, money in the chat here. Help me out, y'all. Trade Sam Laporta for Alexander Madison. This seems extreme. You're making a face. You feel a way about it. Let's hear it.
Don't do that. Certainly don't do that. If Sam Laporta was a third round, fourth round draft pick that you might be disappointed in, you just don't do that. I mean, if you can make room on your bench somehow, you can probably find somebody on the waiver wire that'll be just as good as Alexander Madison. Just not confidence inspiring at all. And hold on to your studs. Things will revert after the first month of the season. First month is kind of treated more like a preseason right now. Everybody's kind of shaking off the rust. Laporta, if he gets a touchdown, he'll be worth more than Madison. And Madison, at best, is a fill-in. Laporta could be a staple in your starting roster.
Yeah, Sam, I think we've heard a lot of talk about this, but there's such a de-emphasis on the preseason for a lot of these teams, especially the good teams like the Detroit Lions. We didn't see much Sam Laporta. How much of that do you think has affected not just him, but guys like Travis Kelce and some of these other veteran tight ends that just simply aren't showing out right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess that you can't say that it has nothing to do with it. But certainly I've noticed this year that the defenses were a little more ready than they have been in the past. Typically, the defenses take a while to adjust, and offenses are just scoring tons of points in the first, 3 or 4 weeks of the season. So, everybody's down. We've noticed everybody's down. Scoring's down. I think the tight ends are just part of that. I mean, some of them will bounce back. Some of them won't because it's a volatile position anyway.
Right. Yeah. I'll start to be a little bit more worried if we get into week 7, 8, 9, and we're still kind of talking about this downturn in tight end production. I don't think that's going to happen. Now we've got Jonathan Santiago dropping into the chat. Start one, A-Chain, Madison, Zach Moss. This is full PPR. I'll start this one off. I'm going with Devon A-Chain. The situation says they're going to run the ball more. He's the more dynamic runner of the three. I feel like he gets more volume. So it's A-Chain for me. Matt, how do you feel about this one?
So I'll mention this. Raheem Mostert is back for the first time this season. It might eat into A-Chain's workload a little bit, but A-Chain's had a huge workload and hasn't been as efficient as he can be or should be or we expect him to be. But, all it takes is one play from A-Chain to get him in the top 12 of the week. So you just can't steer away from that, no matter how gross you feel.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. We got Mr. Scampers, our favorite fantasy cat, dropping in the chat. Good afternoon to you, sir, as well. Mr. Scampers, he has a question for us, gentlemen. First he wants to tell us he's starting Trey Tucker and Cortland Sutton over Garrett Wilson, and I don't care. That's a really good call. They're going after Devontae Adams, man. Garrett Wilson in redraft is going to be dead in like 2 weeks. Now, his question is this. PPR, Braylon Allen in London Town versus Minnesota, or Matt, here you go, Mostert against New England coming off of the injury. Matt, which way are you going on this one?
Who are the two? It's Mostert against New England and
Braylon Allen against Minnesota.
Good problem to have. Give me Raheem Mostert, though. I think he ended up last year in the top 5 running backs. He's also explosive, and all it takes is 1 or 2 plays from him to make the game. Braylon Allen, he had one good game. I think he got to 20 points. Every other game, he's looked good, but he's been behind Breece Hall. Breece was a little bit injured last week, so he stepped up a little bit. He does look good. I think I'm still going to go Mostert until Braylon Allen takes over a little bit. I'm excited to see what Mostert does when he comes back.
Yeah, same. Sam, how do you feel about this? Are you on the Mostert train with this one as well?
Yeah, in this situation, yeah. There was talk that Mostert might be on a little bit of a pitch count, like he might have a lighter workload. But nonetheless, just looking at the defenses, New England has a good defense, but they're susceptible to the run. And Braylon Allen only really does, the most damage in like garbage time. And I don't think he's going to get garbage time against Minnesota.
No, more than likely not. I am with you guys. Raheem Mostert would be my play here, Mr. Scampers. We've got Angie Hatfield in the chat. Angie, thank you so much for tuning in. She says, what's up, guys? 2 PPR start sits for you. Stevenson or Sermon, and then Bowers over Kincaid this week. I want to take this tight end one. Brock Bowers is the wide receiver one for the Las Vegas Raiders this week, and he won't be facing Patrick Surtain. You want him this week over Dalton Kincaid. Sam, how do you feel about Bowers over Kincaid? And then are you going Stevenson or Sermon?
I'll take Bowers over Kincaid. Absolutely. They got to move the ball somehow, and short passes is the way they're going to do it. And what was the other one? Sermon and who?
It's Sermon and Stevenson, Ramondre Stevenson.
I'll go with Ramondre. I think the coach talk earlier this week was just to get him kind of fired up, to make him feel like he's going to really lose a lot of carries to Gibson if he doesn't shake up and if he doesn't hold on to the ball. So I'm looking for a big effort from him on Sunday.
Yep, I'm with you there. Now, Angie, I hope we answered your question. We're going to move on to Mo Diesel here tuning in. Guys, if you are here watching us, we are loving this. We want to answer your questions. Get those questions in the chat. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Optimus Fantasy Football channel. Mo Diesel wants to know, do I trade Pittman and Kelsey for Dobbins, Shakur, and Tutu in half PPR? He'd have to drop Mike Williams. I have no issue with dropping Mike Williams. Sam, how do you feel about the rest of this?
He would be getting Dobbins, Tutu, and who was the other one?
You'd be getting Dobbins, Tutu, and Shakir.
Yeah, I would make that trade. I would make that trade. I like Shakir, and the PPR doesn't matter too much because, I mean, he and Dobbins are going to pull in a lot of passes, but I think that overall they're going to have better productivity in that trade. So. Yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on how you feel about Mark Andrews. You know what I mean?
Kelsey.
If you think you're doing it because you're panicking, then don't do it. But if you honestly believe that he's not going to be any good for you this year, then it should be an easy choice.
Okay,
So hold on real quick, because it's a big difference between Kelsey and Mark Andrews. The trade was Pittman and Kelsey for Dobbins and Shakir and Tutu, and it'd have to drop Mike Williams. So I'll tell you that I'll say Mike Williams and Tutu, probably not that big of a difference. So I'll say that the trade is Pittman and Kelsey for Dobbins and Shakir. Honestly, Shakir is a step up from Pittman right now, and probably will be as long as Anthony Richardson's playing. But with Rashee Rice being out indefinitely, Kelsey's really going to step up. They play the same role.
Yeah.
I think they've been reserving Kelsey as long as they've got Rashee Rice. Kelsey's probably going to step in towards the end of the fantasy football season anyway, and closer to the playoffs. I think now they're going to be forced to start peppering him with targets. He's going to be the Kelsey of old for as long as he can be. And so I would keep Kelsey, see if you can ship off Pittman for anybody that still sees any name value in him. You might be able to get, Pittman for Dobbins plus a little bit if you feel good about that. I'm sticking with Kelsey. I think Kelsey's going to be good for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually, to modify the trade, because I have no faith in Pittman whatsoever. But yeah, Kelsey is, if there's one tight end out there right now that's underperformed that is going to, it's got to be him.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Kelsey's, well, especially without Rashee Rice, right? Like Kelsey is going to have to take on additional volume. Started a little slow. I'm not super stressed about it. I would not move him, but Pittman's a guy I would move. We've got Tyler Sperry dropping into the chat. He says, hey, I have Reed and would love you and love. Would you pick up Wicks or play Dell? Matt, let's start with you here. Are you picking up Wicks or are you playing Dell?
Do you have to? I mean, you could do both. You could pick up Wicks and play Dell if you feel up to it.
Yeah. If you've got the room in the flex slot, I'd do that too.
That would be my play. But honestly, I'd probably start Wicks over Dell right now, which is hard to say. Just hurts my heart a little
agree.
bit.
Yeah, I do too.
But Nico Collins is taking over and Stephon Diggs, it's not week 10 yet. So, Sam, so are you feeling similar about this?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same. Dell is the odd man out there. and he's coming back from injury. I mean, he's going to have good games, but I definitely like Dontavian right now, and Daubs is out on Sunday, so it's going to be the Reed and Wicks show.
Reed Wicks.
That's it.
And
It's just the
Tucker
two of them, right?
Kraft.
Yep.
Yeah,
and Tucker Kraft is a Tucker Kraft week.
Yeah, this is we were talking about that earlier on the DFS show, which, guys, that is at 2 p.m. Eastern. Check Mike Greedy and I out every Friday. We're going to move on to B Ruckus saying, yo, my dudes, what is up, B Ruckus? Thanks for tuning in. Trying to get JJ or Chase, my team, running backs, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, and DeAndre Swift. His wide receivers are Amon-Ra St. Brown, MHJ, Deontay Johnson, Wan'Dale Robertson. Thoughts on offers? Thanks. Ooh,
this is Dynasty, I assume?
I'm going to assume it's Dynasty, yes. B-Ruckus, if you could let us know in the chat, we're going to assume this is a Dynasty trade. Tell us different if it is not. Chester, where do you sit on this one?
He's got a really good team.
Yeah.
He's going to have to ride out Mason for as long as CMC is out. Aaron Jones is clearly going to be a starter. Jacob is nice to have as an RB3, and Swift is a what the heck flex or possibly a fill-in later in the year if Aaron Jones gets hurt or if Mason gets faded into the background. He's already got a really nice wide receiver core with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Harrison. Deontay is going to be, top 15 as long as Andy Dalton's throwing to him. And Wan'Dale is going to see 15 targets a game for probably 60 yards a game. He's also going to be very usable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd try and make that move. I think it's a big swing to try and get it, and you're probably going to have to overpay. I love your depth. I love your balance. I don't really know why you're going to try and do this, to be honest. I think you're paying.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to make up the difference in some pretty hefty draft capital in order to make this work without decimating your team.
Well, I just don't think you need to. I mean, I get the allure of wanting to get Justin Jefferson on your team, wanting to get Jamar Chase on your team. These are like elite level receivers, but so is Amon-Ra, so is Marvin Harrison Jr. And then you've got Deontay and Wan'Dale, who, like this week at least, Wan'Dale's the focus of his offense at wide receiver. And Deontay Johnson, Dave Canales has said, this offense runs through Deontay Johnson. All we're doing is trying to find different ways to get him open. So, yeah, I wouldn't make a trade. I wouldn't move anything for either one of those guys. I think your team
Deontay and Wan'Dale Robinson could probably get 35 targets a week between the two of them.
Yep.
I don't think that's crazy at all.
It's not crazy at all. We've already seen it kind of happen. So we're going to move on to AxMax07. Love the Man City logo. Start 3, full PPR. Amari Cooper, Garrett Wilson, Deontay Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Tank Dell, and Brian Thomas Jr. Samwise, let's start with you. Which 3 are you starting here?
Wan'Dale, Amari, and I don't know, probably BTJ against Indianapolis. But Wan'Dale is gonna, with Neighbors out, Wan'Dale got 11 targets last week with Neighbors on the field. So there's no telling how many times they're gonna throw him the ball. Whether they're all on target or not is another thing. But I think Wan'Dale's a slam dunk. I think Amari, if anybody saw that touchdown that got called back last week, he's due for a big game, I think. And BTJ against Indianapolis's pass defense.
Okay. Matt, how do you feel about it?
I think, like we just talked about, Deontay Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, those guys are probably plug and play. And, you've got a really good point that Amari Cooper is due for a little bit better luck. I'm pretty sure that he crushed it in game 1, maybe game 2. The other 3 games all had a play called back that would have added about 8 to 10 points to each one of his weekly scores. So I understand wanting to go Amari Cooper. I think you got to throttle back on Tank Dell until something changes in offense. And Brian Thomas Jr. He just looks good. He looks good.
Yeah, he does.
Rookie. I think he's wide receiver 17 right now, and he's just going to probably get better.
Yeah.
Who's Jacksonville playing this week?
Indy, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. I think that's a good call here. We're going to move on to Will Hayes in the chat here. He wants to know Josh Downs, Xavier Legette, or Waddle in PPR. I would have said Josh Downs. Looked like Flacco was going to play. It doesn't. So I am going Xavier Legette. Sam, where are you at between these three?
I will probably go Legette too. I was really out on him this season, and then I watched him last week when they played the Bengals, and aside from some really ugly drops, he was getting a lot of targets from Dalton. That's just a completely different offense with the Red Rifle than it is with Bryce Young. So, I'm going to go Legette as well. Downs, I'm with you. I would have said Downs if it was Flacco. On the other hand, in some of these if there weren't better options, Downs might be the only Indianapolis receiver I'd consider playing with Anthony Richardson.
Well, given Richardson's health right now, I don't know that he's going to be slinging it deep downfield. Matt, how do you feel about this? Are you on the Xavier Legette train with us?
He's fine. If it is Joe Flacco, Downs is an obvious play.
Yep. All right, we've got Albert in the chat saying, hello, everyone. Albert, thanks for always tuning in, man. It is always a pleasure to see you. Jonathan Santiago with another question here saying, thank you, guys. You are so welcome. Thank you for being here. Sit one between Worthy, Wicks, and JSN. I'm probably sitting Xavier Worthy here. Matt, where are you at?
Ooh, I don't think you can sit Worthy anymore.
You don't
not
think
with
so?
Hollywood Brown out, not with Rashee Rice out. Now it's the offense is pretty much just going to be Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Pacheco's out. Who else are they throwing to? Justin Watson.
That's a fair point. I kind of like Justin Watson.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju Smith-Schuster. I'll tell you this: if Xavier Worthy gets 8 targets a game or even 8 chances a game, because he might run on a quarter of those, I could see Xavier Worthy ending up being a low-end wide receiver 1 if he gets 8 looks a game. I just, the circumstances there. And so is the talent. He's the fastest guy to ever be in the NFL, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he gets 8 targets and catches 2 of them, that could actually be a good game.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Because he could break away for 35 yards.
You could break away for 2 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and take it to the home. Yeah.
I think I had PTSD from Marvin Mims here, right? Like, the speedy guy that should light up the world, but this is Sean Payton, not Andy Reid. Aaron Hudson in the chat. I got Laporte on by. Don't really want to drop any of my pieces. Got JSN, Shaheed, Singletary, CMC, Chubb, JMO, Cup on the bench. He says on the beach. That would be much nicer. I'd love to be on the beach with all of them. Would you drop any of these to stream tight end or roll with a dud? Still got a 50-50 win percentage.
Who's the dud? Or is it just a 0 because there's nobody else you can fill in with?
I guess the donut.
Yeah. I'd be okay. Do we think we're going to see Cooper Kupp again this season, guys?
Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to see I don't know if we're going to see Chubb in form until maybe week 12. And at that point, your season might be over. So if you have to, and if you have another chance, then maybe you can get Chubb. Maybe you can lose him. Singletary's been a very solid running back too.
He's out this week.
Yeah.
Chubb played well last week, and he's got Chicago's Swiss cheese defensive line this week. I don't know. You don't want to really take a donut, but I'd have a hard time dropping these guys.
I would probably drop Chubb and go for someone else. I mean, who knows what we're going to get out of him? I mean, that hurts my heart, man, because I love Nick Chubb. I'm a big Nick Chubb stan. But it is what it is. George
Nick
play 01.
Nick Chubb will probably still be, if somebody does pick him up, he's probably not going to last on that roster through all these bye weeks anyway. So
I was just thinking of Chubba Hubbard. My bad.
Oh yeah, Chubba Hubbard, you're starting him.
You start him, yes.
Yeah, Chubb bye. He's going to be a shell of his former self. Bye, Chubb.
Yeah.
Bye, Chubb.
All right, George plays 01 in the chat here. Start 2 wide receivers in a flex. This is non-PPR. DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas Jr., JSN, and Trey Sermon. My 2 wide receivers, Amari Cooper and BTJ this week. And then I'm I'm going to flex JSN. Sam, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I'll start DJ Moore and Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
And I'm gonna flex Amari Cooper. I'm going back to Amari Cooper again.
Okay, Matt, how about you?
The only 2 guys that I can pretty confidently cross off are going to be JSN and Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon definitely. JSN just because it's a non-PPR and he's kind of a PPR merchant. He's not really a touchdown scorer. Brian Thomas is a touchdown scorer. Keon Coleman seems to only catch touchdowns. And then between Amari Cooper and DJ Moore, Amari Cooper could blow up. So could DJ Moore. That's going to be a hard call.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, we're going to move on to Andre here in the chat. Half PPR. Do I trade London for Brees? The owner wants him gone. My other receivers are CD, Neighbors, Reed, Addison, JSN, Puka on IR. I wouldn't have entertained this 3 weeks ago, but
right?
How the turntables have turntabled. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I'm trading London for Brees.
There's gotta be a regression to the mean with Brees Hall, right? Like this whole Jets offense. I want more.
Yeah, but London, didn't he get like 30 points last night?
He did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to trade that away.
But my worry is that London's not going to be consistent. This is one of those trap games where it's like, ooh, pretty. And then next week it's Darnell Mooney and freaking Ray McLeod. I don't know.
I would tend to think that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that out of all these players, you're definitely going to keep Neighbors. I don't think that you're going to be able to sell Reed for as high as you would sell London for or CD for. Addison, if you could sell Addison or JSN for a lesser running back, that might be doing just as well. I think it's possible that you're buying the name on Brees, and it's possible that you're selling too low on London because of what he's been. I would try and just make a move in a different direction. See if you get this might be some terrible advice, but can you get more than Brees for CD? Because CD is Neighbors is ahead of CD.
A lot more for.
I think so too, and I think Malik Neighbors is doing better than CD Lamb. You've got a lot of depth, and I think that CD just has the most name value. You could probably get Brees and then upgrade at another position. You know, if the Brees manager has Jalen Hurts and wouldn't mind taking your Brock Purdy and CeeDee Lamb for Jalen Hurts and Brees, he might be a little bit wary of both of those guys. And I would probably just try and sell CeeDee's higher name and upgrade somewhere else.
I can't argue with that. This is why we're friends. You help me be better. All right, we're going to move on to the next comment here. It is Mr. Scamper's half PPR question here. JSN versus the New York Giants, Xavier Legette against the Chicago Bears, or Cam Akers versus Buffalo, not feeling hunchy. Well, you could, for me, at least, you can cross Akers off immediately. How about you, Sam?
I agree with that.
Matt, what are you going with here? Oh, we lost Matt here for a minute. Sam, so which one of the out of JSN and Legette, who are you going with? I'm going with
I guess JSN. That Seattle defense or Seattle offense is playing really, really well right now. And nobody seems to have like donut style games. So I'm going with JSN both for the floor and for the ceiling.
Okay, I can't necessarily argue with that here. We've got Jamie Parag in the chat. He says, hello, Optimus. Jamie, third time in less than 24 hours I have seen you. It's great to see you tuning in. We appreciate it. Tyler Sperry here. I would have 3 people on one team. Would have to drop Hunt or Sermon or Dell. That is a reference to a previous question here. Mr. Scampers, he is saying that Musgrave is also banged up. This is a Tucker Kraft reference. He is correct. We're not going to be seeing Luke Musgrave. So that's great news for anyone who's got Tucker Kraft.
It's a Tucker Kraft week.
It's a Tucker Kraft week. Now, Tootsie Pop dropping into the chat. What is up, Rachel? Thank you for tuning in. Getting smiles from all the guys over here. Hey, buddies. 2 flexing Scott Fishbowl. Ooh, Scott Fishbowl. Okay. All right. Raheem Mostert, Justice Hill, Tank Dell, Jordan Whittington, Miles Sanders, Dalton Schultz. 2 flexes and the fabled Scott Fishbowl. Oh boy, this is tough. I think for me, I want Justice Hill because that ceiling is so freaking high every week. It's worth the risk to me, especially in Scott Fishbowl. And Dalton Schultz with the tight end premium scoring. Sam, how do you feel?
I like Schultz, and I think I'd be more inclined to play Mostert just for the carries. If he gets 15, that's actually he won't get 15, but if he gets 10 to 12 carries, that's a nice little bonus too. And I trust him. I don't trust Justice Hill. I still don't.
Okay.
The floor is like non-existent.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair. And we've seen that in practice. Matt, how are you feeling about this one? Oh, still can't hear you, buddy.
We're having technical difficulties.
So I'm going to pop over to this one real quick. We have Jesus Zavala tuning in. Jesus, thank you. He is new to fantasy football. We love to hear that.
Yeah.
Check out optimusfantasy.com. We have a Fantasy 101 series written by Richard Sickles. It is a great guide to get you started and help you get into the game. Worried about underperformance of some players. Is it possible to turn the season around with the wire? Heard of the term league-winning players? Jesus, yes. It is. In my home league right now, this is my league of record. We're talking 15 years I've been in this league with my friends and family. I am 0-4 right now. I'm not worried about it. I have seen teams that were 0-5 get to the playoffs. All you have to do is get to the playoffs. So working the waiver wire and finding guys like Jordan Mason. A lot of people didn't have him on their radar. A lot of people were excited about Elijah Mitchell. Opportunity, you grabbed him. He could end up being a league-winning player for your team if CMC doesn't come back. Sam, how do you feel about this? Can you win your league on the waiver wire?
Not only can you win it on the waiver wire, it's a must. You know what I mean? The teams that win consistently just, bang that waiver wire all season long. It doesn't mean they're over tinkering, but they're doing their research and they're seeing trends and seeing who's picking up steam and who's catching fire and who might take that job away. You know what I mean? You can absolutely turn a season around the waiver wire. And much like you just said, in my home league, which I've been in for 24 years, 27 awesome. Years, 96. In that league, I'm 1-3. I've never started that bad, and I couldn't care less. I'm like, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Matt, how do you feel about this? I mean, you're a master of finding undervalued players.
First of all, I want to say 1996 was only 4 years ago, so stop right now. Stop making me feel like I'm feeling. Yeah, absolutely. I think the name of the game is just grinding, paying attention. The only way that you can turn your season around is, I guess, be patient with your studs, but also be very diligent with your grinding the edges.
Yep.
Well said.
It's a very nuanced game. Very nuanced game. On the surface, it doesn't always seem like it. There's a lot to it, and this game has progressed so much since I think all of us started playing. Have fun with it, man. That's number one. If you're not having fun, don't do it. That's all I'll say. We're going to move on to Jaden DeBreo here. Start Madison over Akers after Zamir reported out. I say absolutely. Matt, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think Alexander Madison. I think Akers had 6 carries for 8 yards last week. You just don't want to do that. it's a rough scene to be picking between those two, but Madison's definitely the answer.
Yeah, no, Madison is the answer for me. Sam, how do you feel about this? Are you on the Madison train?
Yeah, I'm on the Madison train too. I think Akers will have a better game than he did last week, but it's still like.
Yep, no, I'm with you here.
Then you
Jamie
can
Parag in the
pull me
chat
on
here. He
that.
says, question for my girlfriend. Start 2, Stevenson, Eckler, or Zeke, full PPR. I'm going to say Stevenson and Eckler just because there's no volume for Zeke. Sam, you with me here?
Okay, tell your girlfriend. Yeah, you're asking for somebody else. Yeah, I'm with you, Stevenson, Eckler, especially with Brian Robinson out. If he's out.
If he's out.
And Eckler doesn't look half bad, man. I know there's a lot of talk of him being
good this year.
washed, and he's looked fine. So even in limited snaps, but yeah, Zeke is just running out of volume, and he might not play this weekend. So
yeah, Matt, are we going to see Dalvin Cook in Dallas at all?
Do you want to?
No, I'm just curious.
Nah, I hope not.
Yeah, no, me too. Angie Hatfield dropped into the chat here again in the world's last standard scoring league. Do you like Zach Moss or Jaden Reed more this week? I think we can all say it at the same time, right?
Yes.
Jaden Reed.
All right. Yeah, that was beautiful, guys. We've got Lee Aving here in the chat. He wants to know Madison or Sermon full point PPR. I'm Madison on this one.
Yeah, I think we just answered this question a couple questions ago. Yeah, Madison's the ticket.
Yep. Tyler Sperry saying that Flacco took first team reps today, and I did hear that earlier, Tyler, but all of the reporting from the beat writers is saying that they're still trending towards AR playing on Sunday. Maybe they just think he's so athletic he doesn't need to practice. So, pick up that Jacksonville defense if that happens.
Well, I mean, if you got a hip issue or whatever, are you going to take every rep? Probably not. So
probably not. But whatever. He's going to be, if he plays, he's going to be Anthony Richardson, which is he could throw 3 touchdowns. He could throw 4 interceptions. You don't know until you get there. Right. KJ Frederick here. I know these options are gross. Taysom Hill is injured. Who is a better full PPR tight end play, Noah Gray or Jawan Johnson? We're going to go to the NOLA native here, Mr. Matt Chester. Which one are you starting, buddy?
That's a tough call. So Noah Gray is going to be splitting tight end targets with Travis Kelce. But Foster Moreau is also halfway decent. Juwan Johnson's a little bit banged up. That being said, Kansas City is the best team for tight ends to play against. So maybe pick one of Foster Moreau or Juwan Johnson, I guess.
Yeah. I'm fine with either one. I think they both have an equal shot of paying up. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, it's just gonna come down to whichever one probably finds the end zone, really.
Yeah.
On their one catch.
I mean, that is what it comes down to with most of these tight ends. Dom_17 asks, pick 2, Cam Akers, Trey Sermon, Juwan Jennings. Can I pick 0? Matt, how do you feel about this?
Can I pick Juwan Jennings twice?
Yes. Sure. Why not?
Okay.
We'll clone him. Sam, How about you?
I'll take Juwan Jennings and Trey Sermon.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jennings and Sermon if you've got to, because we really didn't have a choice. Aaron Hudson saying, thanks for the advice. Much appreciated. Aaron, thank you for tuning in, guys. If you are here dropping questions in the chat, we would love it so much if you would like this video and subscribe to our wonderful fantasy football channel. We come live at you 5 days a week, guys. I am here. You're going to get to know my face really well. I talk a lot, but I love football, and I'm here to help. We've got another question. We are going to Mr. Scampers, half PPR, drop 1. Zach Charbonnet, Blake Corum, or Tyjae Spears. I don't roster any of their lead backs. Matt, your eyes got big. Which one are you dropping?
That's a tough question. Can you trade one away?
I would prefer to trade one if you can. Yep. If I'm dropping, though, it's probably going to be Blake Corum because he's with Kyron Williams on the field. There's almost nothing to Blake Corum. The other two have some independent value on their own.
Okay, so I'm definitely keeping Shards. It's tough between Corum and Spears because Corum's not seeing any play at all. If Kyron Williams goes down, Corum might see all the play, and he might be a top 10 back right out of the gate. So it's hard to drop Corum. Spears is not in a great offense. See if you can trade away Shards to upgrade at another position and do a 2-for-1 and hold on to Spears and Corum. I don't know. If you have to drop one, it's Corum probably.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying I like it, but if you have to drop one and you can't move one of these guys in a trade, for me, it's going to be Corum. Where are you at on this, Sam?
Well, I think, this season with all the injuries and everything, we've seen, the consequences of there being shorter benches in redraft. And, all of a sudden guys that you thought you were real smart to draft, like Trey Benson and Jalen, you're like, well, I guess I could drop them and then race everybody back in case a Chain or Connor get hurt. And I think that's what you're going to have to do. Got to drop one.
Yeah, and sometimes you just don't have a choice. Mr. Scampers dropping here to say, and thanks as always for the advice, guys, dude. Anytime, Mr. Scampers. Herms, the old Herms. Guys, Nate and Herms, every Wednesday night, sometime between 11 Eastern and 1 a.m. Eastern, we go live. It's a hoot. He says he needs some lineup advice. Need a flex. Sermon Wandale Robinson or give up. This bye week is going to kill me, and I'll be 1-4 and dead in the water. We'll flex Rondale Robinson and hope for the best.
Pretty comfortably. Yep.
Yeah. No. Now, guys, check out Herms on the 33rd team. He is the man for their fantasy football analysis. Very good, very insightful. Jonathan Santiago in the chat. Last one for you guys. Stroud or Love this week? It's pretty easily Love for me. Sam, how do you feel about it?
It's easily Love for me too.
Matt?
Who are they each playing against?
Love.
Yeah. Go for it, Sam.
Love playing the Rams.
Yeah, that's kind of why
Yep.
All right, we have JXHE17, half PPR Flex 1, Chase Brown, Josh Downs, Tucker Kraft. Matt, let's start with you. Which one do you want here?
What's the format? Is it PPR? Is there any tight end premium?
Half PPR.
Half PPR. Oddly, I'm going to go Kraft over the other two. Unless Flacco plays, then I'll play Downs.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's Tucker Kraft week.
Yeah, we keep saying it, and we really do believe it. We've got Joey in the chat, and probably not the Joey I grew up across the street from, but hey, you never know. Maybe he found our channel. Full PPR, have running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Mason, Ken Walker, Zach Moss. Wide receivers are T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson. Would trading Mason for Devontae Smith and Brandon Ayuk be a good move? I couldn't say. I can't. I wouldn't do it. Matt, how do you feel about it?
He can still ride out. Between Walker and JT, one of them should be healthy every week. And Moss is pretty gross. But so are T. Higgins and Garrett Wilson. I don't want to start either of those guys. Yeah, that's a good point. So you're getting Ayuk and who?
Devontae Smith.
Ayuk and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, give me the two starters over Mason.
Okay. Sam,
yeah, for sure.
We've got Robert Mitchell dropping in the chat. Robert, it is so good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Thoughts on Keon Coleman? Shakir is out. Pick in order. Christian Kirk, Dontavian Wicks, Keon Coleman. Should I drop Shakir to get Coleman? Matt, let's start with you.
Nope. Stick with Wicks.
No.
Yeah. Sam, you agree?
Yeah. Don't drop Shakir.
Okay, I think for me in order it would be Wicks, Coleman, Kirk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, we have JXHE17 dropping in with another question here. Half PPR pick 3 this time. Jacoby Myers, JSN, Wandale, Xavier Worthy, Roma Dunze. Sam, how do you feel about this one?
Pick 3 of Myers, JSN, Wandale, Worthy, and Odunze. Oh, it's Jacoby Myers. This is pretty easy for me, actually. I do Worthy and Wandale.
Got to pick one more.
Oh, JSN.
Worthy, Wandale, and JSN going straight in the center. Matt.
I'm with you on Worthy and Wandale. Wandale's got a nice floor. Worthy's got a nice ceiling. Have fun with it and go with Odunze. They're playing against North Carolina. They might be able to pick them apart. Odunze might be good for a good bounce back game.
Yeah, it could be. I'm fine with either one. I think it's a toss-up for me. We've got Toronto Dave, the homie in the chat. What is up, buddy? Representing the
What up, Dave?
The happiest of happy hours over there. Cheers, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Jesus Zavala, he says, you guys are awesome. Thank you for answering my question. We'll tune in more frequently. Please do. This is what we live for. If you ever meet a fantasy analyst that says they don't like answering your questions, steer very clear of that person because it's quite literally our job. Tyler Sperry wants to know, which one would you drop? Demon Hunt, Dell, Sermon. He clarified under here. It is Trey Sermon. So which one are you dropping? I'm dropping Trey Sermon.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, is this for good or just for this week? Or I guess it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm dropping Sermon out.
Yeah, Sermon. You're dropping Sermon.
Yeah. We have Amanda Angert in the chat saying, not into fantasy football, but my boyfriend is. Hi, Sammy. Gotta love that one. Christopher Adams in the chat. Braylon Allen or Tyrone Tracy?
Ooh, that's fun with Singletary out.
That is. I'm probably going to go Tyrone Tracy.
Okay.
I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy. Sam, how do you feel about this one?
This is a tough one.
It is tough
for me. Because the Giants also have what's the other backup running back's name?
Eric Gray.
Eric Gray.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go Tyrone Tracy because again, I can't see Allen doing much against Minnesota.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move back to Herms here. Okay, my lineup decisions are actually tougher than I thought. I need 2 wide receivers in a flex between these guys: JSN, Christian Kirk, Rashid Shaheed, Wandale, and Trey Sermon. 2 wide receivers. We're going to go Rashid and Wandale, and I'm going to flex Christian Kirk. Sam?
Give me Shaheed, Wandale, and JSN. I'm not interested in Christian Kirk, and none of us like Trey Sermon.
Well, no, but the Indy matchup makes me kind of like Christian Kirk just a little, but just a little. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with you with Shaheed, Wandale, and Kirk.
Yeah. All right. We have Parayko dropping into the chat here. Would you trade Garrett Wilson for Shaheed and Judy if it meant getting Brees? I'd have Kyron, Brees, and Brooks and have JJ as my wide receiver 1 with Deontay, Waddle, and Dell on the bench. So he's saying basically Wilson, Stafford, Jacobs for Brees, Shaheed, and Judy. Redraft Superflex with AR Mahomes as my quarterbacks right now. Matt, this is like your wheelhouse right here. How do you feel about this trade?
Stafford's not worth playing even in a super flex right now, not until Kupp and Puka get back. So you're basically giving away Garrett Wilson and Jacobs for Brees and Shaheed and Judy. Judy's also just a throw-in piece. Yeah, give me Brees and Shaheed over Garrett Wilson and Jacobs right now.
Yeah, Sam, I'll take that too. Yeah, I agree.
Yep, I'm with you. Matthew Stafford, it sucks, and Jerry Judy really could have some value moving forward. He's starting to get more targets in that offense, get more looks. So we have Ken Z. Ignacio, Conklin versus the Vikings or McBride versus the Niners. As much as I hate the matchup, I'm going to take Trey McBride against the Niners. Sam, how do you feel about this one?
Definitely McBride.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's just too talented. Like the great Andrew Cooper always says, when you're looking at tight ends, look for the one who's the wide receiver 2 on their team. That's pretty much undoubtedly Trey McBride right now in Arizona. Toronto Dave with the hearts. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in, my man. Jamie Prague on Facebook over there saying, tune into Optimus to ask any fantasy questions, but only if you want to win. We agree with you. We're here to give winning advice. Tyler Sperry. So he wants to pick up Wicks, drop Hunt, Sermon, Ford, or Dell. Sorry for the confusion. Back to that previous question. Drop Hunt, Sermon, Ford, or Dell to pick up Wicks. Sermon. Yeah, it's still Sermon. Yep. Nothing changed.
God, we hate that guy on the show.
I know, right? Aaron Hudson, would you flex Shaheed or JSN? I also have DK starting if that means anything. Full PPR. Matt, which way are you going here?
Seattle is playing the Giants. They're going to destroy them. I don't know how long they're going to need to play JSN and DK. I don't mind Shaheed and DK.
That's what I would do too. Sam?
Yeah, I agree. Shaheed.
Yeah, perfect. Well, there we are now. We've got Christopher Adams wants to know Brian Thomas, Ayuk, and McLaurin. He needs to. McLaurin's almost an auto start for me right now with how well Jaden Daniels is playing and they're connecting. Then from there, I think it's going to be BTJ for me out of those three. Sam, where are you at?
Man, I'm a big Ayuk stan, and I have such a hard time benching him. But in this question, I think I'm going to go BT. Well, not against Arizona. I'm going to go Ayuk and McLaurin.
Okay, Matt.
We have three different answers because I'm going to go BTJ and Ayuk.
Oh, all right. We'll see. Varying opinions. I think if you're looking for a floor, it's Ayuk and McLaurin. If you're looking for a ceiling, for me, it's McLaurin and Brian Thomas. But hey, it wouldn't be fun if we didn't disagree sometimes, right, guys? Vince Mapstone from Down Under. I've never met Trey Sermon, but I'm sure he's likable. I'm sure he is too. I have nothing against.
Well, he better be because he's. I can't imagine why anybody's rostering him on their NFL team.
It's because he's a nice guy.
I bet he's hilarious.
He probably is. We've got Robert Mitchell here. Robert wants to know Christian Kirk or Josh Downs. I'm going to say Christian Kirk unless Flacco plays. Then for me, it's Josh Downs.
Same.
Sounds good.
Yep. All right. Next up, Jesus still hanging in the chat. Jesus, thanks for chilling with us. Should I be deeper with running backs or wide receivers in a 10-team league? My running backs aren't stellar. Pollard, Aaron Jones, Najee, Braylon Allen, Tyler Algier. His wide receivers are Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to assume Deontay Johnson, Dontavian Wicks, and Rashid Shaheed. Follow-up question, what can I use to try to get a better player? Let's take. I think your wide receiver core.
I think your wide receiver core is very nice. You don't need to confuse who's going to be starting every week between those guys. Just start stacking up backup running backs because when the running back gets a chance, they'll be startable. You don't need any other wide receivers besides those five guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. You don't need a seventh wide receiver. Fine there.
Yep. Now, what running back, Sam, would you try and move around to see if you could get better parts?
I'm sorry, I'm reading it again. I mean, I guess you can get somebody that might be high on Braylon, although that's probably going to fall apart tomorrow. Same with Algier with the amount of carries that he's getting right now. I can't expect that to last. I really can't. Although we say that stuff about the Falcons every year. Every year, he just keeps getting the ball. So, I mean, I guess I'd say Algier because Braylon Allen looks awfully good. It's also important to note, how many flex positions are in this lineup and such like that. Because if you got 5 wide receivers and, you're starting 2 and you've got 2 flex spots, then boom, there's 4 receivers, and you've got 2 running backs out of your gang. So
I'll tell you what, the person with the most name value, the 2 people with the most name value that I don't want to start in this entire list, Najee's probably going to be your lowest scoring running back, even behind Braylon Allen and Algier. Najee might still have somebody who's a fan of his name. And Garrett Wilson is the wide receiver 39 right now. He's doing worse than all 5 of those other guys, but he's probably still looked at like he's got a lot of promise. Maybe see if you can pair Najee and Garrett Wilson and go get a starting running back.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. All right, we are going to move on to Jamie Parag back in the chat. He can't go until we're done. So we'll just keep answering those questions for you, Jamie. If Brian Robinson is out, start Gabe Davis, Hunter Henry, or Mike Gesicki in Scott Fish Bowl 14. I already scored 95 points with Evans, London, and Mooney. Wow.
So it doesn't really matter.
What difference does it make?
No. Well, because, dude, get up those rankings, Jamie. Let's get you up into that top 10 with Mike Gesicki. That's who I'm starting here.
I'll go with Hunter Henry because Hunter Henry has the largest target share out of all the tight ends in the league right now. Offense isn't great. He's not scoring a whole lot of points, but the opportunity is definitely there.
Yeah.
And Eric All is kind of taking over from where Gesicki is. Gabe Davis is always just going to be a dart throw. Yeah, give me Hunter Henry because it doesn't really matter.
Sam?
I'll go with the homer pick. I'm going to take Gesicki. Baltimore's defense against tight ends isn't very good. And I think they're going to have a harder time throwing it deep down the field. And we already know they're not going to be able to run. So even with All out there too, I think they could both get 4, 5, 6 catches.
Yeah, I could see that. All right, now we got Herms back in the chat here, shamelessly coming back for thirds. It's my home league, sue me. Eric All Jr. over Isaiah Likely at tight end. Also, I picked up Madison. Does he fit in as a flex over any guys I mentioned? Yeah. I wouldn't mind flexing Madison. And then when it comes to Eric All over Isaiah Likely, I'm going to defer to you, Sam, and Matt. Let's start with you, Sam.
I mean, we haven't seen anything from Likely after week 1, and not only that, I'm really having a hard time shaking this feeling that Mark Andrews, if he's gonna bounce back, it's gonna be this week. He eats against Cincinnati, and it's also where he got hurt last year. So if a tight end is gonna get utilization, it's gonna be him, or he's actually still hurt. So I'm gonna go against Likely.
Yeah, Lamar's Lamar's been passing 16 times a game over the last 2 games. It's hard to buy into anybody that's catching those, splitting up those 16 passes because I think the majority of them are going to Justice Hill anyway.
Yeah, and Derrick Henry's going to run rampant in Cincinnati.
Yeah, he's a great DFS play this week, even though he's one of the higher priced running backs. Now we've got kicks, RB kicks. Pick 2 for this week, Wicks, JSN, and Addison. I'm going to say Wicks and Addison for me, Matt.
That's fine. Yeah. Maybe if it's full PPR, I would step JSN up. But Wicks and Addison sounds good.
Yeah,
I'll go Wicks and Addison.
All right, well, we're in agreement on that one. Here's one last one before we get out of here. Maybe one more after that. We have got Vince Mapstone asking Najee and Wilson for Tyreek and an RB2 makes sense to me there. Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Guys, this has been a blast. I want to thank everyone who has tuned in to the show today. There have been plenty upon plenty upon plenty of you. Please, I want to remind you, like this video, subscribe to Optimus Fantasy Football. We're going to be here every Friday to answer your questions. We do have 2 more here. Just pop it in. It's Jamie. Do you think Vidal will ever be relevant? He's been a healthy scratch so far. Guys, we waited for Kamani Vidal to be something, thought he might be something in this offense, but it looks like it's the Dobbins and Gus Edwards show at this point, right? Any hope for Kamani Vidal this season, Matt?
You'd have to have really deep benches to still be holding on to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Well, if you have a question for us, you can find us on Twitter, DM us at Optimus Fantasy. Email us, team@optimusfantasy.com. Also, head on over to the website. We've got a comment section. We've also got a ton of content for you to read. So check out optimusfantasy.com. Week 4 rankings are over. Week 5 rankings are live and updated on the site. Thank you all so much for watching. Now go follow Sam. Sam's also, I got to point the right way here. There we go. Go follow Sam at Buy and Sell You on Twitter. You can find his work at In Between Media, at IBT_media on Twitter, and at Yards Per. We have links to all of his bios for those sites in the show description, so go check those out. And just a reminder, folks, we will be on our fantasy football this Sunday, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern, to answer all of your last-minute start-sit questions. Last week, we were right about 1,000 questions. We got most of them answered for you. We're going to have a 4-person team this weekend. We should be able to get to everyone this time. Very much looking forward to it. Sam, I just want to say thank you one more time for coming on with us. Is there anything I did not pitch for you that you want the people to know about?
No, I also do starts and sits on Twitter on Sunday mornings. And I just saw one comment in the chat, and the answer is Dynasty Coach, start Jaden Reed. That was easy.
John is he's what Matt and I's Dynasty co-host. And he is also the lead of the Debbie devotional here on the Optimus Fantasy Football channel. John loves us, and he really does love to troll us. But you know what? It's fine.
Yeah, I hate to say it, that might not be a troll because Jaden.
That actually might not be a troll.
I think on the year, Jaden Reed is the wide receiver 5, and CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver 11, and Jaden Reed did not do very well with Malik Willis as his quarterback in games 2 and 3, which means he really made up for it in games 1 and 4 with Jordan Love passing to him. So with Jordan Love back,
that's okay. All right, sorry, John.
Jaden Reed week.
Jaden Reed and Tucker Craft week, guys. With that, I am Nate Polvogt. That's Matt Chester, and Sam Wise next to me. Thank you so much for an awesome week of content. Please go check out the website, optimusfantasy.com. Check us out on Twitter at Optimus Fantasy. I'll see you on Reddit Sunday morning.